Oh no, it's Mark. I know that like a lot of people have a lot of misconceptions in Dragon Ball, but we're going to be talking about very specific ones in this first section. The first section we're actually going to be talking about multiverse and multiversal theory as it pertains to science and Dragon Ball. This isn't our first rodeo with this topic, so if you have any questions or you don't understand something, just let one of us know or hit me up in the comment section. We'll be sure to help you out if we can.
Yeah, sure.
All right, Aashan. So first, let's get started with. I want you to give our viewers a brief overview of the scientific multiversal theory, and then we'll jump into that.
Right. So basically, the multiverse theory, it's a lot different in Dragon Ball, but outside of Dragon Ball, it works in the fact that if, for example, I made a choice to go to the university today, there is another me who actually made a choice not to go to the university today, and so that is split into two different dimensions, and that is how the multiverse theory works.
A lot of the intricacies of the butterfly effect, which is entertained in the dimensional theories of the multiverse, of cosmonic theory, but so what he was talking about is like not going to university or going to university, or for us Americans, college. If you don't think that decision can mean something, it can mean a lot just from that one decision. So if let's say he went to school today, and someone that he didn't know, that he never met before in his life, he bumped into her in the hallway, and they had an instant connection, went out and got a coffee, and then 10 years later they get married and have kids. If he didn't go to school, those kids don't exist. That relationship doesn't exist. That entire timeline doesn't exist. All because of one tiny decision. So that's how we see it's like a branch. If you look at like a tree, you can talk about like Earth Prime, like we were talking about the DC animated universe with Crisis on Two Earths. You can have like Earth Prime, and then one decision from one person creates two other dimensions, and then those dimensions have more causal effect and go into other dimensions, and so on and so forth to infinite possibility.
It starts growing just like a tree,
Right. I mean, and people's free will and personalities aren't as hard set in stone as they believe that they are. As individualistic as we like to think that we are, we're not really that individualized. We're pretty monolithic as a species, and it's our experiences and our surroundings that actually shape who we are and how we think. How we're raised, what environment we're raised in, stuff like that.
Exactly.
So it does pertain to our topic for Dragon Ball, and now Aashan's going to talk to us about how it pertains to Dragon Ball, what the Dragon Ball multiverse theory is.
Yeah. So the Dragon Ball one is a little bit confusing. It does take some of the concept from the multiverse theory, and it also does not take it. Like, let's say for instance in the Goku Black arc, we saw that one decision of Beerus is what created a new time ring. It's one time where he didn't kill Zamasu and one time where he did kill Zamasu. So that split the multiverse into two parts and two different dimensions in Dragon Ball. But it doesn't work every time for every character the same way. Yeah.
Like when Trunks.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Okay, you go. Okay, so when Trunks went back in time during the Cell games to warn the Z Fighters about Goku's heart virus and to stop Frieza, who he didn't believe Goku was going to get to in time because he didn't know about the instantaneous movement technique. When he went back to the future, it wasn't actually his future. It was a future that was very similar to his, and which had a very similar past to his. But once you leave your time stream, you can never return to that original time stream that you left. This actually works in Dragon Ball too. There's a lot of theory behind that. But I have surmised, as well as others in the community, that that's why Trunks has blue hair as opposed to purple. That's why Mai has black eyes as opposed to blue. So even though he went back to a dystopian future and still, like, you know, defeated Babidi and all them there, it wasn't his exact future. It was like a hairline difference, but still a totally different future regardless.
Yeah, because if people remember correctly, the Goku Black was actually from also a very similar timeline, which was the same as our timeline. So the question lies that how did that timeline also be created, you know? Because Zamasu also faced Goku in the same way when, you know, Goku came to Universe 10. So that is the, you know, confusing part about Dragon Ball, that how much of the multiverse theory does it actually adopt?
Another part of the multiverse theory is individualized with people. So in one universe, I may have been, you know, an architect or something, or another universe, I could be married to a dude. Who knows? You know what I mean? Like, everything. I hope not. I mean, not that I have anything against that, but I mean, I love my wife. So, as individualized as you are, there's different versions of yourself, and we see that some people say like Caulifla is another version of Goku from that universe, which I kind of subscribe to that theory as well. Kabe with Tarbell or Vegeta, we see that as well. Kale, obviously, who's Kale's counterpart? I wonder. But yeah, so it does pertain very specifically.
It's probably future Trunks. I don't know. Well, so, you know, basically, you know, the thing is that people shouldn't be, you know, confused about the fact that in Dragon Ball, actually, it's not like that that Goku will have a counterpart in Universe 6, since they both are twin universes. Yeah, they only have same races in both universes, but not the same people. They might differentiate in characteristics, like the Saiyans of Universe 7 and Universe 6, but they are not the same people. They are different people, just the same race.
Even our counterparts, the Universe 6 Saiyans, they're actually different from our universe because they're not born with tails anymore. So we don't know if they can transform into the Great Ape or Azora form. We were talking about yesterday how, like, this could branch off into other universes as well, and there can be other Saiyans, but, like, maybe they went in a different direction, or maybe they evolved differently, or maybe they don't turn into Great Apes. Maybe they started from wolves or something like that. So we don't know about the other universes, and Aashan made a good point yesterday about the tournament, the people in the Tournament of Power, like, about what their characteristics are. Do you remember what you were saying?
Yeah, what I was saying was that, you know, I've seen that Dragon Ball has, you know, morely focused on Universe 6 and Universe 7, and they have shown us that both these universes, since they are twins, they have a lot of similar races, like the Frieza species, or the Saiyan race, or the Namekians. But whereas the other universes have been shown, like Universe 2 and Universe 11, we haven't seen that those universes have same races. Like, up till now, till what we have seen, we haven't seen that any similar race between twin universes, except for Universe 6 and Universe 7, except for the only fact that we have seen Yadratians in Universe 2, which is a bit confusing because now we don't know that where the Yadratians actually originate from.
There could be Yardrat in multiple universes, but that Yardratian might only have been the strongest one to be able to compete in the tournament, or maybe he knows some kind of special technique. Because even though Universe 6 and 7 are twin universes, so they share the most common characteristics out of the 12 universes that exist right now, because it's been said that Zeno destroyed the other ones, there may be, like we were saying before, a planet Vegeta or plant or whatever in one of the other universes, but maybe something happened to where it's not valuable enough or anything like that.
Yeah, exactly. The Yadratian being in Universe 2 actually gives us more thought that Saiyans or other races just might not exist in Universe 6 and 7. They might even exist in, you know, other universes as well, which was your point.
The original plot of the Tournament of Power with the universes was supposed to go, out of 12, there were supposed to be 6 sets. So it was supposed to be twin universes, and each universe had a twin set. which was obviously 6 and 7 are our twins, and that's why we're so similar in the way that things turned out. And one of the things we were talking about before is how they say that Beerus and Champa are brothers, but I was saying I think that's only in the colloquial sense to make it easier to understand for the viewers and for the Z Fighters themselves, because I think they're actually both Beerus that just made different choices in their lives and turned out differently. Based on what we were saying about like the planet, because like he was defending his planet like my planet, this and that, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And because of the fact that Beerus and Champa, before they became gods of destructions, if they were twin brothers in real, then both of them should have been belonged to some universe at one time, some home planet. They must have some race, they can be the only two. They might be the only two left of their race, but there might have been a race, they might have had parents and stuff if they were twin brothers.
Universe jumping and stuff like that, and how would the Kais know, like, to bring him to another universe? How would that application process, like, become? Because from Gods of Destruction being chosen, as we've seen so far, it's pretty much like, if you're strong enough to do it, then the current God of Destruction pretty much takes you on as apprentice and makes you the next God of Destruction. And I just don't see another god from another universe knowing about Champa and Beerus and then separating them from their own universes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
It could happen, I just think it's a little far-fetched, in my opinion. So what do you think are some of the misconceptions with the multiverse in Dragon Ball that you see a lot in our community?
Oh, well, misconceptions is a thing that, you keep seeing now and then. Every week there's a post on any website, and it's usually big websites, that a lot of people follow. And that's actually the sad thing about the Dragon Ball fandom, that, such misinformation is spread between the fans, and even those fans who are good fans, who follow the series properly. If they follow those websites and they do not know the legitimate sources to, get the news, even they would, feel they would seem stupid on the internet when they, come in front of us who are, watching Dragon Ball and who have legitimate sources like Geekdom and Anime Live Reactions or Rhymestyle, who give us proper news and stuff for...
Even the direct sources, like, because even Herms gets his information from Kaizenshu and Daizenshu and... You know what I mean? So they all come from, I used to get the Japanese Shonen Jump magazine shipped to me from Japan, and I used to get it translated so I knew what was going on back when Dragon Ball GT was airing. So, like there are legitimate ways to get the information without having to jump to some of these websites, because I've seen a lot of these websites like BuzzFeed, to name one, and stuff that do like the top 50 things you don't know about in Dragon Ball, which I think Geekdom made videos on it before. And he counted like out of the 50, only 30 of them were actually true, and the rest were all like just complete misnomers. Exactly. But we can talk a lot more about that stuff in your part of the video. I just wanted to focus on the multiverse. So what do you think people are confused within our community about the Dragon Ball multiverse?
Yeah. So the main thing that people are really confused is the fact that most of them just think that if there's a Goku in our universe, then there's a Goku in the other universe as well. That is the really confusing part. The people need to really understand that they are just different races. There are similar races in twin universes, not the same people.
Right. So,
or a Tien Shin Han, like we just, it might not happen. That's a good point. Are there any other misconceptions that you think people have about the multiverse?
I don't think so. Nothing just pops into my mind right now.
The biggest one that I see a lot is that people treat the different dimensions like they're different planets or different galaxies. Like they're talking about them like it's easy to travel to them, and like they think that like you could just like hop, skip, and a jump. I might show a map on our video, but what it is like if you think about, I heard Lawrence Krauss explain it this way: if you have a champagne glass and it's filled with bubbles, and all of those bubbles can surround each other and possibly touch each other, but they're nowhere near each other, all of those bubbles could be individualistic universes that inside they can't interact with each other in the champagne whatsoever. So it would take a great amount of power to reach them. So it's not like people would say like I heard people say that Yard guy was a traitor because like he left Universe 7. And I didn't understand that because I'm like, well, if he's in Universe 2, we say universe, but you don't understand that like there's planetary, so there's planets that are inside of a solar system, and the solar system is inside of a galaxy, and the galaxy is inside of a universe, and then that's inside of a cosmos. But that could just be one of those bubbles in a champagne glass, and the other thing has all the same exact stuff, and they just don't interact. So I mean, he could be a universe jumper, and he could have like been chosen by the God of Destruction to join his team from the universe, because we know it's not a rule that you don't have to have somebody from your universe. But I do think that is a misconception that people are just jumping to conclusions that just because he's a Yardradian and just because he's from Yardrad means he's automatically from Universe 7.
Yeah, exactly. You know, if we wouldn't have seen him in Dragon Ball Z, people wouldn't have been asking this question right now. But I mean, it's even confusing for us because they haven't really told us where the origin of the Yardradian is from. But there is no rule in the tournament that another universe, fighter cannot participate for another universe. Like even Frieza was going to go for Universe 9, if you remember.
We don't know a lot about Frieza's species anyway, so we don't know even if they have a home planet or if they do, what universe it is a part of, because all we know is that they're space pirates. So that's all the information. I mean, unfortunately in Dragon Ball there's a lot of questions and not a lot of answers. They pretty much expect you to, I mean, it's a good thing though. They leave it up to us to come up with these world-building giant exercises that bring us all closer together. It's not that straightforward. Like as opposed to like a series like Naruto, where they pretty much spoon feed you all of the answers, so you pretty much know everything that's going on constantly.
Naruto just explains each and every single detail.
Even go into like how chakra works and stuff. They don't even like Dragon Ball never talks about how ki works. You know what I mean? It's like they don't give you any of that information.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I love Toriyama, and I'm no disrespect for him, but Dragon Ball did start out as a parody series of Journey to the West. So it's not even like it was like an original idea to spring from. It just became popularized, especially in the international scene, and blew up to immense proportions. And we all heard the stories. We know that Akira Toriyama wanted to end Dragon Ball at the Frieza saga, so...
Yeah. No, I think we've covered everything.
Well, thanks for being on part 1. Again, like I said, guys, part 2 will be in the description box below. It's going to lead over to Aashan Anime Art's channel on YouTube, and you're going to be able to watch part 2 over there. And just in case you missed it again, you can also find him on Twitter at Aashan Anime Art, and he's a really great artist, and I would definitely behoove you to go check him out and follow him and give him a follow. And tell him I sent you so he knows that like you saw this video. And that's going to be it for today's video, guys. Thanks for staying with us. Again, I want to thank you again, Aashan, for being on my channel. And remember, guys, stay powered up. Peace.
Yep.